Welcome to Politics and Dirtbags with Bill Vanderzam, brought to you by Way to Grow, the best dirtbags in the business.
Welcome to the show Politics and Dirtbags. I'm Bill Vanderzam, and this is my nephew, Marty Vanderzam. He's the rebel. We've got lots to talk about. Today we want to talk a little, Marty, about what politics today as opposed to what it was 25 years ago. I think politics is changing dramatically, and not for the better, incidentally. I think there's a lot of people here in the US and elsewhere that are very disturbed about what they see happening in government, in politics generally. But you know, way back when, 25 years ago, a person went into politics and they were paid better than a chimney sweeper, but nowhere near what was being paid to a lawyer or an engineer. And they didn't have the big rich pension plans which kicked in after 6 years and all of the benefits of getting pay for not being in Victoria. They're only there 36 days this year and they're getting an allowance like $12,000 or something for being in Victoria. None of that existed. It was very different. All of that came about later, particularly during the Liberal years. However, all of that came later and it hasn't helped politics. A person gets elected and they know once they're in there, hey, all these people that voted for me back in Surrey or Richmond or Delta, wherever, all these people that voted for me, they don't really have that much to say now. And it doesn't matter for 4 or 5 years. I've got to try and satisfy the big corporations because they keep the party going. They provide the funds. So I want my pension after 6 years. So I better help these corporations, or at least not knock them and be obstinate about their involvement, however it might be. I think that's the change we've seen. People get elected to politics, the constituency, the people are now forgotten, and they suddenly begin to pay attention to the people that really influence politics in the province, in the country, and basically that's how it is throughout the world. Things are bad, they've got to change, they can't go on the way they are, it's not good.
You told me once, you preferred the American system of politics. I remember you told me that once, and I can't recall why you said it, but you said that. Now, I look at their political mess. Their politicians, America is a corporate state. It's a corporate state. And their politicians are bought and paid for by basically big, deep-pocketed guys that finance their campaigns, right?
Yeah, bought and paid for may be a bit of an overstatement, but I know what you're saying and I don't disagree. Right. Although it's not just America, it's the same thing.
Well, it's coming here now. It's coming here now.
It's the same thing in
because
Canada.
I look at when I was a kid, well, at least in the West anyways, right? I mean, a big corporation would have been the odd mine or lumber company, and that was about it, and everybody else was mom and pop. I mean, you drove down any street, and when you saw Cloverdale Paint, it was owned by a guy from Cloverdale. You know what I mean? Yeah. Nowadays, you see a sign, Cloverdale Paint, mark my words, it's owned by some guy in New York. It's probably owned by General Electric through their little corporate
or
tree.
It's a public company or whatever.
All that's left in mom and pop nowadays is a Chinese laundry. Other than that, everything's gone corporate, and we are becoming a corporate state. We're becoming it, but they are. Now, you look at those guys, when you are bought and paid for, you have a master other than the electorate. Is that the right word? Other than the electorate?
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter whether he's the president of the US, the prime minister of Canada. They all belong or are dependent on some political party, some force getting them back into office again. So yes, it's not the guy that's donating the $20. It's the people that donate the big bucks to the party that in the end get to say how it goes and what happens. But let me tell you, in answer to your question, if I had to choose between the American system and the Canadian system, I'd have a bit of a problem. There's things about the American system that I still like, and that is that it's more open than our system. At least we see on TV, we can see a Republican arguing with a Democrat, and we can see a lot of debate. We see committee meetings where in fact people are questioning the senators, or the Congress is questioning the people from the Fed Bank or whatever it is. We don't have that here. We don't have the openness. If I had my choice, I'd be looking at a form of Swiss system, I think that's the best, where the people have to say. We don't live 50 or 100 years ago anymore. Today we're in a time when people can access things more openly through the computer, etc. So we don't have to have this coziness, this closeness. It can be open. That's what I want.
Their system's a mess. Too many cooks in that kitchen. Now, I like our system. Basically, when you're voting for a leader of a party and he says whatever he says, you know, if he says, I'm going to build a freeway across the country tomorrow.
That's it.
It's it. You know, you vote for him, you're going to get a freeway across the country.
Yeah.
In the States, the president says, I'm going to build a freeway across the country, and it's a big maybe. Too many cooks in their kitchen.
Well,
I
the
want to vote
freeways
for
in
a
the
boss.
U.S. don't look too bad. They haven't done too
Oh no,
bad.
but you know what I'm saying.
So,
I mean,
yeah, I know
we're
what
going to
you're
go to
saying.
Mars. We're going to go to Mars, right? There is too many cooks in their kitchen. That's why their system is a mess.
No, I disagree with you. However, their system is a mess, but it's open. We can see that it's a bit of a mess, and we know why it's a mess and what the problem. But it's that in itself is a whole other debate. But I think perhaps it's a whole lot more open than our system.
Their system, like Hollywood, it's all scripted. What you're seeing is through scripted eyes. Nothing's real. What you see down
When
there,
we elect
nothing's
a
real.
premier or a prime minister in this country, we're electing a dictator for 4 or 5 years. That's how it is.
We are electing a what's the word? A boss. Like any business, you need a boss. If you do not have a boss, the business is doomed to be lackluster.
In politics, the real boss is all the people out there. They're the boss. That's who the politician is to represent and work for. Not some body that belongs to a political party that was elected and therefore they get all the say. No, that's not good enough. So I think we need to change the system. There's no doubt about that. And the way to change it is to make it more open. I like the Swiss system.
Okay, listen to this one. I read remember Brock, the General Brock, famous War of 1812, Canadian General Brock. And I read a letter that he wrote to a friend in the States. They had just finished the revolution and whatnot down there. And he was shocked that those people would pick up a gun for the right to vote for a farmer, right, versus a king who is groomed through his entire life, groomed to lead. All the people watch that guy grow his entire life. They know every girl he dated. They know every flaw, every good thing. They know one day that guy's a leader. Now, that kind of woke me up, and I'm thinking, yeah, so boom, a guy walks on the scene. I'm running for him. You know nothing about that guy. We know nothing. And you look and you go, seems like a nice guy, and you vote for him. Now, a better system, I think the monarch system. I think if you had, if every province would pick every so many years, kids, families would put them in there, and we paid for their education, we paid for everything. We groom these kids, we groom them, and all of a sudden they're 35, and you pick your leaders out of groomed kids. We would know all their flaws, we would know all their good points.
Okay, well,
right?
you're making an argument for the king, and frankly, I think that's again something that might have been okay hundreds of years ago, but today that's not necessary.
Well, you can't get a
we
crook
don't
that
need
sneaks in.
monarchs. We need people that represent us.
An elected
the
monarch.
views of the people.
An elected guy, a guy that's groomed. We
No.
raise him like you
That's
raise
a
a
dictatorship.
chicken. I mean, you raise him for market. You raise this guy. He gets to that point, and you go, okay, there's 5. Vote from the 5. And you know, well, that guy was a bit of a slack ass. This guy here, he's rocking and rolling. I'll vote for him. You know what I mean? He's groomed. Now we just pick a guy off the street. Somebody walks in, I'm Bill Smith. Yeah. You don't know that
It's
guy
not
comes-
that easy. If you're running for president of the USA, you go through an enormous process before you actually get there. I know they make mistakes and they perhaps choose the wrong people from time to time, but so be it.
Didn't John Chrétien, before he left, didn't he pass that law where campaign contributions from unions or corporations or private citizens, I think, was limited to $3,000?
I don't know what the amount, but right.
It was
you're right.
very slender. Now, I know that there was a group in the States that took that same argument to the Supreme Court and lost. In the United States, their Supreme Court says that a tax-paying corporation has the rights
to contribute
as much as they damn well want. Well, that's how their system gets bought and paid for. Now here, that had to kick the whole corporate influence in the teeth, you would think. Because, I mean, if I was a politician, the guy, phoned me up and said, hey, I gave you $3,000. Big deal. right? You're not gonna twist my arm. But if the guy told me today, I give you 10 million. Ooh, buddy, what do you want? Yes, whatever you want, you're gonna get, right? You agree with that?
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
There's got to be a limitation on contributions.
So they've already, we've already made the big difference. We are keeping the corporate influence down in this country, which makes it harder to become a corporate state, which is why we are behind the United States in being a corporate state. That's what I think. Better system. Is it great? I'm paying too much damn taxes and they're making too much money. I agree with all that. Fair enough. But that's what happens when you get lawyers running the show, right? Lawyers making $500,000, right?
Send us your questions and comments. That's what makes our show.
You have a choice, Way to Grow or a competitor. Somebody that doesn't care or somebody like Way to Grow. 30 years, sleepless nights, trying to guarantee what goes in that bag is the best performing product possible. Always ask for Way to Grow products at only the best retailers in Western Canada.